And now, the first time you came into my media environment, so to speak, you were on a Spice Girls video doing an impersonation of Victoria Spice, and you said to her in the outtakes, "Is it just like looking in the mirror?"
Yeah, I sort of felt like I must be Victoria Beckham's absolute nightmare. That she would look at me and think, "Oh my Lord, please never let that happen."
Is it like looking in a mirror? Is it like looking in a mirror?
But I am still very good friends with all of the Spice Girls, and I love those girls, and I loved it back then. And I took my own daughter to see them on stage. It was such a thrill.
Can you believe that was in 1996?
No, I can't. I absolutely can't. But then I've got a 24-year-old daughter, so she was born in 1991. And that just takes me by surprise. Everything to do with age takes me by surprise.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. I mean, this show that I'm going to bring to New Zealand is called 30 Million Minutes. And that's because that's how long I've been alive. And that is 57 years. And that takes me by surprise every time I think about it. In fact, by the time I get to you guys, I'm going to be 58 years old. But I can't be bothered to change the title, so I'm going to leave the title as it is. It's near enough.
Well, let's talk about the show, because I was reading an overseas review that said there's a tragedy at the core of your show, but you find yourself in a happier place now in your roly-poly persona. Is that a fair assessment?
In a way. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because you've said so many things there. The first thing is a tragedy. Yeah, there was a tragedy in my young life because my dad took his own life very sadly when I was 18. And I talk a lot about this in the show because it's part of what I am. You know, if you lose your dad at that young age, you have to investigate what happened to your confidence, how you feel about it, the kind of bomb that exploded in the middle of my family at that time, and how we survived it, and how I carry my dad with me as my fuel for everything I've ever done. How I live my life as a tribute to him and everything he taught me. So I talk a lot about my dad, and I talk about my dad in the show because I talk about everybody who made me, about my grandparents, my mum, my brother, my husband, my ex-husband, my kids, my friends. You know, I kind of people the stage with all the people that have been important for me. So yes, that's true. Now the other thing you said in that review is the roly-poly thing. Now being a round girl, woman, I've spent my whole life being described as a physicality, if you like. And I do a whole thing in the show, and I show the audience all the different things I've been called in the years that I've been on the stage and on the telly. And it is remarkable that we have to describe each other in such a way that what you look like is really apparently what defines you. And in the show, I kind of challenge people to not do that, to think about who somebody is rather than just what they look like. Partly because I've got young daughters. I've got 2 daughters now because I've remarried, and so I've got a new daughter and a new son. But my new daughter is the same age as my other daughter. And I can't bear that my young kids put themselves through such a hard time about what they look like, when in fact they're completely gorgeous.
How is it then that you've remained on top of your game when so many that get to the height of their fame start to change their entire image to a point where they're almost unrecognisable? How is it that you've kept yourself, for want of a better word, normal?
Well, do you know, I haven't got the time to do anything about it. I want to get on with my life. It's like, you know, if you need slightly bigger trousers, get some bigger trousers and then read a book. You know, get on with important things and don't worry so much about what you look like is my kind of adage. And I would say that I understand how difficult it is to keep your pecker up. I get that. And women especially just get such a rough ride about what you look like. It's just always what people want to say is about the shell that you live in. So that's why I think so many women give in and cut their faces off and repaint them on again. And, you know, everything looks so frightening to me when it comes to all of that. So I haven't gone down that road. I mean, you know, my weight's gone up and down, like a lot of women's have. But I hope I still look like me, and I will never be skinny. I'll never be thin. I wouldn't even bother attempting to be. And I'd want to be happy in my skin, and I do a whole bit in my show where I introduce the audience to my body. I hope this doesn't put people off. But I go through every part of my body and explain, and I mean every part, and I explain everything about it and what I thought about it when I was growing up, what I think about it now, and how I live in my skin and how I've come to accept everything about myself and how I hope, amusingly refer to all of it and come to understand what a strange, weird body I live in and how much I love it.
And Dawn, isn't it a strange world we live in too today, where I did my research on you, and when you Google you and your image, some of the first photos that come up are of paparazzi shots of you and your husband doing grocery shopping, holding grocery bags. And I wondered how you feel about that.
In the UK, we have some very strange press. And we have a real plethora of women's magazines, kind of chatty magazines, that are hungry for any kind of visuals they can get. So in my home in Cornwall, which is very, very quiet, very often I get followed to the beach, followed to the shop, followed walking my dog, followed meeting my kids. And it's all to get us kind of no makeup, is she looking fatter than usual kind of photo. To kind of make you ordinary or something. I don't know what it is. I think it's slightly bullying, and it's certainly a bit sinister. I have no interest in why, as you say, why is that of any interest to anyone? It isn't. But it's usually middle-aged women like me. There's about 5 or 6 women in this country that there is massive interest in, and any photo of you doing anything is of value. And I will never, never understand it. All I know is that when I pull out of my front drive, people follow me to get these weird photos. It's very odd. You know, I'm a 57-year-old mother of 3. There is nothing interesting going on in my life. You know, I might change the brand of dog chew I buy for my dog, and that's probably what's in that grocery bag. That will be the most exciting thing.
Well, you must have an interesting life, though, considering there's an entire show dedicated to you.
Well, that's been so, you know, everything that's happened to me so far. But I truly believe that when I think about the sad things that have happened in my life, the deaths of parents, divorce, you know, the illness, things like that have happened to me, these are only the things that happen to so many people. It's just that I'm putting it together in a story and telling the story with the aid of lots of photographs and lots of home cine film. And I've come to some conclusions about things in life. You don't get to be 57 without going through some of this stuff and coming out the other side a bit stronger, actually, and with some opinions. And that's what I do. I stand up on stage and tell people these stories. Some of them are very funny, I hope. Most of them are very funny. But some of them are a bit difficult to hear. But it's my job as the performer and the writer to make sure that if I'm going to tell you a sad thing, and tell you what I feel about that. The next thing I'm going to tell you is something very funny and happy.
Is it almost therapeutic in a way? I mean, getting up on live stage in front of an audience and talking about your life?
I suppose so. I mean, I didn't set out for it to be my therapy. What seems to have happened since I started to do it is that other people write to me and say, yeah, that happened to me. So in a weird way, I think it's almost therapy for the audience more than it is for me. I'm not needing to tell them so that I feel lighter, if you like. I don't feel that's the reason. I'm kind of raconteuring. It's an old-fashioned storytelling thing that I'm doing. When I try to describe exactly what the show is, I have problems because it's a little bit like stand-up. It's a little bit like monologue. It's a little bit like a slideshow. It's a little bit like a film show. It's a bit like all of those things. But I've never seen a show quite like this, I'm happy to say. And I've never written a show quite like this, I'm happy to say. And all of it is rooted in the truth about me. So I've just decided to get up and have the courage to say some things that are difficult to say. And then say some things that are just, I hope, funny.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's a hope because I've been reading all the reviews and all of them say it's an absolute blast. Do you bother reading the reviews?
No, I can't do that. I will one day, when I finish the show, and in fact, I am going to finish it in New Zealand. And I'm doing that for a reason. What you need to know, and this is absolutely no bull, is that New Zealand is my most favourite place on the planet after Cornwall, where I live. I love New Zealand. I've been back many, many times. And the reason I'm finishing this show in New Zealand is so that then my family are going to join me and we're going to have our holiday in New Zealand. And I cannot wait to show my new family New Zealand. My daughter has been many times with me, but my new kids and my new husband have never been, and they're very, very excited about it. So, yeah, you know, I'm coming.
And now, before I let you go, Dawn, I have to say, you know, when you get famous like you get immortalised in wax at Madam, whatever you call it, but you didn't. there's a chocolate. You decide to get immortalised as a chocolate coin.
That's right. Well, I was honestly so delighted when about a year ago they asked me to become the Chancellor of Falmouth University. And we've never had a university in Cornwall. So this is the first university of Cornwall. It's a fully arts university. And when they asked me to do that, I thought, oh, do I really want to do that job? It means, getting all dressed up and handing out the degrees and being part of the student's life. It's going to be quite a job. And I suddenly thought, you know what? I would be happy to do this job if, in return, I get a crown. And I said this aloud. I can't believe I actually said it aloud. And they said, yeah, okay, if you want a crown, we'll get you a crown. And so a couple of times a year, I get to wear this most beautiful crown made by a Cornish jeweller called Miri Dharma. And it kind of signifies all the Cornish flora and stuff. It's wonderful. And it goes with this amazing gown that the students, because it's an arts university, they've got a fashion course. So the fashion students and the textile students actually wove the cloth and made the gown that I wear. So check it out online, because there are pictures of me in the Falmouth University, and it's so beautiful, so beautiful. I did graduation week just last week, actually. I shook the hands of 1,600 students getting their degrees. I was delighted to do that. And yes, you're right, I decided to give out something called the Dawn Doubloon, which is a chocolate coin with a picture of me on the back of it, a bit like the Queen.
Well, it's just like Posh Spice all over again, isn't it, really?
Listen, in a fight, who would you put your money on, me or Posh Spice?
Well, of course you.
Yeah, thank you, correct. And even in a fight with the actual Queen, I think I would win.
Well, maybe she could just eat some of your chocolate coins just quietly. Looks like she could do with some.
Yeah, true.
I will let you go. It's been absolutely lovely talking with you. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for your time.
Do come along. And we've only put a couple of dates on, because we're just going to see if people want me to come. And if there's enough demand, we'll put on some extra dates.
I'm sure it will sell out. Christchurch is waiting for you, Dawn French.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.